Imagine you're sitting across from a married couple who've been together for 30 years. They're holding hands, they're finishing each other's sentences, they look at each other with a warmth that makes you believe in love again. And you ask them, what's the secret? They smile, they look at each other, and they say, nobody told us this before we got married. We had to learn it the hard way. Now, imagine another couple. They're 3 years into marriage. They sit on opposite ends of the couch. They scroll through their phones instead of talking. They've stopped dreaming together. And if you asked them what went wrong, they'd say, we didn't know. Nobody told us. Here's the hard truth. 80% of marriages fail before year 5. And it's not because people don't love each other. It's not because they're bad people. It's because nobody told them what actually makes a marriage survive. Today, I'm going to tell you what nobody tells you about marriage before year 5. And if you're married, engaged, or even thinking about marriage, this message could save your future. 1. Marriage doesn't fix you, it exposes you. I want you to meet a woman named Lisa. She grew up in a broken home. Her father was absent. Her mother was emotionally distant. Lisa always believed that if she found the right man, he would heal her. He would give her the love she never had. He would make her feel whole. She got married at 24, and within 2 years, she realized something terrifying. Her husband couldn't fix her. He didn't even know how. And every time he failed to meet her emotional needs, she felt more broken than before. The marriage wasn't healing her, it was exposing her. Now, look at the story of Adam and Eve in Genesis chapter 2. God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him." Notice something important. Eve was not created to complete Adam. She was created to complement him. He was already whole in God. She was his partner, not his savior. But after the fall, everything changed. Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the serpent. The relationship that was meant to be a partnership became a battlefield. And why? Because they brought their brokenness into the marriage instead of bringing it to God. Marriage is like an X-ray. It reveals what's already inside you. If you're insecure, marriage will expose it. If you're selfish, marriage will expose it. If you're carrying trauma, marriage will expose it. The question is not whether you'll be exposed. The question is whether you'll do something about it. Quotable line, marriage doesn't fix your brokenness, it reveals it. And what you do with that revelation determines everything.
2. You're not married to your spouse, you're married to their potential, and that will destroy you. Let me tell you about a man named Michael. He met Jessica at church. She was beautiful, kind, and full of dreams. Michael saw something in her, potential. He saw who she could become. He saw the wife she could be if she just changed a few things, if she lost a few pounds, if she became more confident, if she stopped being so emotional. He married her potential, and when she didn't become that person, he became resentful. He started pointing out her flaws. He started comparing her to other women. He started asking, why can't you just be who I know you can be? Look at the story of Jacob and Rachel in Genesis 29. Jacob saw Rachel and fell in love instantly. He worked 7 years for her, but after the wedding, he realized something. He had married the woman he loved, but he was also married to her flaws. She was barren. She was jealous of her sister. She was emotional and demanding. Jacob didn't just marry Rachel's beauty, he married her struggles. Proverbs 31:10 says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies." But notice, the proverb describes a woman who is already virtuous. It doesn't describe a woman who might become virtuous someday. When you marry someone's potential, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because people don't change just because you want them to. They change when God works in them, and that's not on your timeline. You didn't marry a project, you married a person. And if you can't love them as they are today, you won't love them 5 years from now. Quotable line, you married a person, not a project. Stop trying to fix them and start loving them. Number 3, the wedding is one day, the marriage is every day. I want you to picture a couple named David and Sarah. They spent 2 years planning their wedding. They obsessed over flowers, invitations, seating arrangements, the perfect dress. They spent $30,000 on one day. And then the wedding ended. They went home. They woke up the next morning and they realized the wedding was over, but the marriage had just begun. They had no idea how to be married. They had only learned how to plan a party. Now look at the story of the wise and foolish builders in Matthew chapter 7, 24 through 27. Jesus said, "Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him to a wise man which built his house on a rock. But the foolish man built his house on sand. The rain came, the floods came, the wind blew, and the house fell." Most couples spend all their energy on the wedding, the one-day event, and almost nothing on the marriage, the lifelong foundation. They build their marriage on sand, and when the storms come, financial problems, health issues, parenting stress, disappointment, the marriage crumbles. Your wedding day is not the finish line, it's the starting line. The vows you spoke are not just words, they are covenants. They are promises you renew every single day. And if you don't build your marriage on the rock of Christ, it will not survive the storms. Quotable line: the wedding is a moment, the marriage is a lifetime. Don't trade your future for a party.
Number 4, your spouse cannot meet your deepest needs. There's a woman named Amanda. She loves her husband. He's a good man, a provider, a father. But she feels empty. She feels lonely. She feels like something is missing. And she's starting to resent her husband because he can't fill that void. Here's what nobody told her. Her husband was never meant to fill that void. Only Jesus can. Psalm 107 verse 9 says, "For he satisfieth the longing soul, and filleth the hungry soul with goodness." Think about the story of the Samaritan woman at the well in John 4. She had been married 5 times. She was looking for love in every relationship. And when she met Jesus, he didn't give her a husband. He gave her living water. He satisfied the thirst that no man could quench. When you expect your spouse to meet all your emotional, spiritual, and relational needs, you are placing a burden on them that they were never meant to carry. They will fail you, not because they're bad, because they're human. And when they fail, your marriage will suffer. Your spouse is your partner, not your savior. Your spouse is your companion, not your source of identity. Your spouse is your helper, not your God. If you don't get this right, your marriage will become an idol, and God will not bless an idol. Quotable line: your spouse can hold your hand, but only Jesus can hold your heart together. Number 5, you stop fighting for each other. Let me tell you about a couple named Mark and Jennifer. They dated for 3 years. They were inseparable. They wrote love letters, they planned surprises, they pursued each other relentlessly. But after the wedding, something changed. They stopped trying. They stopped dating. They stopped making each other feel special. They started taking each other for granted. And by year 3, they were more like roommates than soulmates. Look at the story of Isaac and Rebekah in Genesis 26. They had been married for years, and yet when Isaac was afraid for his life, he told people she was his sister. He stopped protecting her. He stopped fighting for her. He was more concerned about his own safety than her honor. Now look at the book of Song of Solomon. This is a couple who never stopped pursuing each other. In Song of Solomon 2 verse 4, the bride says, "He brought me to the banqueting house, and his banner over me was love." They delighted in each other. They never stopped romancing each other. When you stop pursuing your spouse, you allow the enemy to build a wall between you. The phone gets more attention than your spouse. The kids get more attention than your spouse. Work gets more attention than your spouse. And one day, you wake up next to a stranger. Marriage is not a destination. It's a journey. And if you stop walking together, you will drift apart. Quotable line: a marriage without intentional pursuit is a garden without water. Here's the bottom line. Nobody told you these things before you got married. Or maybe they did and you didn't listen. But now you know. And knowledge without action is just information. It's time to act. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. But that reward only comes when both people are willing to do the work." Your marriage is worth fighting for. Quotable closing: your marriage is not about finding the right person, it's about being the right person, and it's not too late to start. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me honestly, which of these 5 things did nobody tell you before marriage? Drop a number, share your story. Let's start a conversation. Share this video with your spouse, send it to your engaged friends, post it in your small group. This message could save a marriage. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Before the Last Moment, because we don't just warn you about the world outside, we equip you to guard what matters most. Until next time, fight for your marriage like your future depends on it, because it does. See you in the next one.